Before we begin, I want to put out a disclaimer of distressing content. Viewer and listener discretion is advised because it is about animal mistreatment. If you are a jealous person, please seek therapy before a loss of life happens. Let's get into that. But before we begin, please like and share this video. This is a case of a dog named Boy Boy. Now, Boy Boy is a poodle that belonged to a man, Lai, and Lai adopted Boy Boy with his girlfriend, Yap, in 2015. When their relationship ended 3 years later, Lai kept the dog. Lai then got into a relationship with another woman, Heng, and they both agreed to keep the dog at Heng's place. Unfortunately, it wasn't a mutual decision to keep Boy Boy because Heng's domestic helper was mistreating the dog on Heng's instructions. And there's different levels of this mistreatment, and it ranges from it being confined to the balcony and rarely being allowed inside to the physical mistreatment, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to be too descriptive because the news articles are, so if you want to read the full story, you can look them up. But again, it's very distressing. To put it gently, Boy Boy was mistreated until it was no longer living. The unalive dog was transported to Mandai to be cremated, but was put on hold because she wanted to inform Lai that his dog is no longer living first. Okay, so maybe there is a heart in there somewhere. So Heng, along with her domestic helper, drove to Lai's place and they celebrated his birthday before being told that his dog is no longer living. Alright, so I was wrong. Boy Boy was cremated the next day. The only reason Lai found out the truth was because he noticed before the cremation that the dog's limbs were stiffened like after a fit or a trauma. And also after cremation, he saw a fracture in the skull fragments. He then went and checked the CCTV footage from a motion sensor camera that he installed on the balcony where the dog slept, and it captured everything. Lai met with his ex-girlfriend to show the footage and she lodged a report with NParks. But unfortunately, no autopsy could be performed because the dog was already cremated. By then, its possessions as well as the CCTV camera were disposed of by Heng. Okay, firstly, I cannot imagine being told that your pet is gone after a celebratory event. That must be so traumatizing. But the reason I'm bringing up this story is because in the news, the domestic helper is the one being prosecuted. She's being sentenced to 9 months jail. You might think, sure, she's the one doing the mistreatment, right? But let's dive deeper than that. I'm reading this story on multiple platforms and I'm gonna assume that everyone found out that the domestic helper was acting on the command of Heng in the courtroom. So why did Heng instruct her domestic helper to mistreat the dog? I think we can all agree that it's a sign of jealousy because Boy Boy was a dog from Lai's previous relationship. But to take it out on the dog is just all sorts of cruel. In the latest news, NParks and the Attorney General's chambers are assessing whether prosecutorial action should be taken against any other persons involved in this matter. Why the deliberation? The domestic helper was acting on the command of Heng. With the kind of mistreatment she was doing, there is no way she was doing it on her own accord. I saw the videos and there could be a few theories as to why she was so willingly mistreating the dog. Number 1, she didn't like the dog too, so it was easy acting out the mistreatment. Number 2, she was scared of being sent back because according to court documents, she said she's worried about her parents back home in Myanmar because they're living in an area of conflict. Number 3, because she's a live-in domestic helper, she's already on edge living close to someone who's capable of giving such orders. And a lot of us who are aware of this case can say things like, why couldn't she just not do it? Or why didn't she report this to the Ministry of Manpower? Or, according to the judge, why couldn't you control your strength? Yep, the judge actually said that. Instead of, you shouldn't mistreat animals, she got the, well, you could mistreat them a little bit less. While we would all prefer to regard the domestic helper status as a grown adult who can think for herself, we do have to take into consideration her circumstance and the environment in that home. How does Heng treat her when Lai's not around? The domestic helper could very well be at the mercy of Heng. Who knows? Jealousy can make people do crazy things. Because what if the product of Lai's past relationship is a human child? Would they face the same fate as the dog? Or did the dog get the brunt of the extremities of human jealousy because it's just an animal? Tell me what you think and I'll follow up when there's more news of this case.